that is a Kool Glide. All right. Couple things that we're going to discuss with it before I go any further. I'm corded. All right. Is one thing. What's today about? Today's about green. All right? And green, when you plug your iron in, how many times customers come in and go, and it's smoking? Oh, man, it's stinking my house up. You hear that? How can you stand the smell? You know, there's something burning. All right? All right? They come running into the room. What's that burning? All right? With this system, yeah. All right? This thing here is, you just plug that in. It's hot. It's ready to go. I don't have to wait for it to heat up. It's ready to go. All right? See if this is still hot enough. Second. All right. I'm still going to seal my seams. All carpet. Doesn't matter if it's a loop, whether it's a cut pile. Manufacturer says all carpet is to be seam sealed. That's coming from the manufacturers. All of you being through the training before have heard of the CRI 105 and 104, correct? Well, it's now just the 105 because they've condensed it down to 1. But in a few more years, that's not going to be around anymore. It's going to be the S600, ANSI standard. Just like what ceramic has and all that, it's being in the process being made right now. You have all the manufacturers, you have the unions, CFI, retailers, all on this committee, and they're writing a new standard. And it's going to be, well, right now, the CRI 105, or CRI, as a standard. It's going to be an ANSI government law on how carpet is to be installed. And hopefully, it will be, they're going to deal with and handle things that with patterns. I'm on one of the subcommittees, so I'm helping, getting my input on some of the stuff. I'm on a subcommittee. Have to be certified at that point? They are it could come out of it for a manufacturer to warranty their carpet. It had to be done by a certified installer. It's possible. It's being looked at and it's being talked about. Yes. And it's going to be government? It's going to be a government. It's going to be an ANSI standard. Yes. It's started. They figure it's going to take about 3 years, and they're already about 9 months into the first session of things being talked about. So same thing. Just run your glue gun down, seal the side. Guys, I don't know how much easier that can get than that. I mean, look at it. How much easier can that be than to seal a seam that way?
And Roland, once you do that, you don't use the seam sealer at all?
This is the seam sealer.
What about the irons that claim to seal the seam?
All right. Yeah, basically it's Taylor makes an iron that has the fins on it. And yes, that's an authorized seam sealer if it's working properly and you keep it cleaned. They actually have a certification program to show guys how to use it, make sure it's working properly. If you go through that and you do it correctly, make for sure that the glue's coming up and buttering the sides, you don't need a seam sealer at all. That's a seam sealer. Yes. Where the issue is that there's times it starts and stops and too much comes out. You get hard spots and all that. If the guy doesn't know how to run it, he backs up, pushes a gob up through it, and all of a sudden there's a gob, or he moves too quick and not enough comes up through it and skips. So this way you know you put it on because you see yourself do it. Or again, call me like in control. I don't have control because once that iron's down there and it's moving, you know, I've got to continue. I'm worrying about my seam, and I'm worried about getting it done, and not if it came up through that tube and buttered both sides. All right. You know, I was talking about the hot iron and about control of it. A lot of times, there again, a lot of times, and you know, correct me if this hasn't happened to you, is I get my iron down there, and I got a pattern that's fighting me. And I move my iron, and I get down on it, and I get it in place. And it's fighting me a little bit. I got to stretch it back, I got to kick it this way, I got to get it in this way, it's fighting me a little bit. And all of a sudden, you're in your mind, you go, man, I better move that iron. If I don't move that iron, it's going to damage the back, it's going to, you know, do something. So you move the iron. Now what do? You got to now get where you move that iron, correct? This could have been off still a hair, especially on these small pieces. And what happens? That's good enough. Because now you got to concentrate on this. So what happened back here, that's as close as I can get it. How many times have you heard, that's as close as I can get it? All right? It's because he had to move the iron, and that wasn't as close as he could get it. He didn't have any time to fool with it anymore. With that system that we're going to use, there's no excuse of saying that's good enough, because this is on. It's hot and ready to go. Yeah. Here. Huh? All right, I'm going to hit the button. It's going to blink and go out. You control it. You can set on the carpet. You don't have to worry about if it's going to burn the carpet. You don't worry about if it falls over. All right? It works off the same megahertz as your cell phone. People go, oh, it's a microwave. It's going to kill me. It's going to make me, I can't have any children anymore. I've got 5. I don't need any more. You know, but so, you know, but that's not true. It's the same megahertz. That's what's on that cell phone, and you stick that up to your brain. You know, so it's not going to hurt you. Now, if you have a pacemaker, I wouldn't suggest you put it up to the pacemaker and hit the button. I just don't think that would be something smart to do. But you know, for you, you know, if it's not going to hurt you, it really is not going to hurt you. All right. Another thing about it is they have 2 different types of tape. They got one with a silicone on it, and then they got one that doesn't have the silicone. Depending, if I got hair and felt, I'm going to use the one with no silicone. I'm not, because it's, you know, if I got a rebound pad, I'm going to use my silicone, and the reason is that rebound, you know, if it doesn't have a good scrim and that, you know, if you overlap it and overheat it, it could stick to the pad. How if you pull your seam up?
How much does a roll come with, and how much does it cost, you know?
All right. You're going to find, well, where's Andrew's, because Andrew buys it now. They buy it by the local distributor, I think, is selling, it's the same 60-foot roll as the regular seam tape. I think the local distributor is selling it for about $17 a roll, I believe. You go, well, you know, that's double what I'm paying for now, and it is. But for one, you can market it as a green thing because there's no smoke. I never say no odor, because if you get and hit down straight on the tape, it can give you some odor. All right, but slight odor. But unless you want to make it smoke, well, I could sit there and lay this down and hit it, and it'll catch it on fire, you know. But it's not going to smoke if you're doing it right. If you don't have it to where because you don't run with your regular iron, you run a lot of times run your tape up the wall to come out. This you don't. It's net, so you're not going down and shooting down on it because it senses the tape. Because I hit it now, there's no tape there. It's not going to sense it. It's just going to blink and go out. It's not going to do anything to it.